Hello, everyone. We hope you are practicing social distancing and spreading awareness. Welcome to Ninja Talks. We are going to talk exciting stuff around experiences, learning, and tips that help experts become better. I'm your co host, Sneh.
And I'm your co host, Shreya. Welcome back to Ninja Talks. With a lot less traffic and even lesser pollution, we're breathing fresh air more than ever before. Right from the Asia Pacific headquarters of Google, a global leader, specialist for diversity, education, and developer relations, we welcome Ms. Vaibhavi Desai. Hello, Vaibhavi. Welcome to Ninja
Hello.
Talks.
Thank you so much, Ria and Sneh. It's amazing to be here with you folks.
So, how are you doing these days?
I am doing good. As you rightly mentioned, practicing social distancing, but not letting it affect to the work and trying out innovative ways on how to work from home. And it's a tough time for everyone, but I think the show must go on. So just catching up with a lot of things around.
Great. So you have been actively involved with global developer relations, communities, developer student clubs, women tech makers. That includes diversity and inclusion programs. Apart from that, machine learning boot camps, applied CS with Android, and a lot of other educational programs. So, how are your responsibilities shaped and how do you thrive to nurture the global ecosystem with the team members?
I would say it's an amazing experience. Definitely, I started my journey from my city, Ahmedabad, where I was pursuing education on engineering and doing a lot of activities. So, starts with a small contribution, and I started my journey as a volunteer at various meetups, various activities in my college, and then other programs which are meant for students. And then from there it has been a tremendous experience of learning, meeting new people, discovering, and then exploring how I can help more people, how can I change their lives, and how can I give back to the society. It's always said that we see the medicine practitioners as the great people who give back to the community. If we as an engineer can give a gift of education to someone or can give motivation to someone, I think that's the best that how we can help the society. So it has been amazing. I started as volunteer, tried to taking few leads on running few activities, projects, festivals, and then I moved to Bangalore. I was running my own initiatives back in Ahmedabad, of educating women, which are the elderly women households. So teaching them technology. And then I somehow realized that I really love doing this. So from there, I moved on to Google. And then initial time, I was figuring out how the ecosystem of the company is, what's the value, what are the kind of the global programs that we have, and how do we make it regional. So it was figuring out a lot of complexities into an organization. And then once I got a hold of it, I just started becoming better at piloting things at small scale and then scaling it up. If I could say, from a student lead who used to conduct a workshop of 50 people, when I was able to reach around 10,000 people through a program that I was managing, it was like quite a satisfactory journey for me all across. And from there, taking my core experience of program management, community engagement, running and scaling the programs from India, I moved to Southeast Asia in Singapore. And then it has been again a very unique experience understanding different countries, meeting people from all across the globe, Singapore being the APAC headquarter, and participating, running and scaling global programs as well. So very excited and satisfactory if I see or if I look back.
So, as you stated, it's been a long, amazing journey for you. So, You started as the president of entrepreneurship cell during the college days of yours. So you were an active part of programs like Google Student Ambassador. That time it was really a good program. So Women Tech Makers, Google Summer of Code. Going ahead with this, you also hosted the first ever crossover conferences in India. What motivated you to be a part of these programs, and what path and ideas have you encountered to unlock the opportunities?
In terms of motivation, I always like mentoring and helping people. So that is the great motivation for me at the very first place. In addition to that, I keep exploring ways. When I was in college as well, I was trying out to do multiple things and then figure out where my interest is and then go deeper into that. So very similar to that was the case when I was going from one club to other club, participating as a student on seeing the activities that are being conducted. I landed on that entrepreneurship cell as well, and I wanted to become an entrepreneur. I was already having a small startup in my college, and then I thought that maybe if I join this cell, then I'll be able to not only grow myself as an entrepreneur, but I'll be able to help all the other student startups who are looking for support from all across the community. Similar to that, I had received the Women Techmaker Scholarship, and that is a scholarship that is normally given to people who have great leadership, computer science contribution, and then interest towards contributing back to the community. So when I received that scholarship, I went to Tokyo in Japan for the international scholarship retreat, and I met other scholars from around all across Asia Pacific regions. I think there were around 25 of us. And when I met all of them, I kind of felt reassuring that, okay, the thing that I have been thinking to do, that is helping women in tech grow, it's not something that is only there in India, but it's something that each and every person from various country is trying to figure out. Like I had the same problem which my co-scholar in Pakistan or Bangladesh or Sri Lanka also had. So that was a great sense of motivation. I always mention this to a lot of people. It has been kind of sequential. So once I believe that whatever I have with me is an opportunity, if do it well, then by the time I finish it, there's the next opportunity already waiting on the door. So I believe that anything that you have, you do it so well that you are recognized by people, and then someone, some person or an organization or anyone will come to you saying that, hey, this is the next step. Would you like to take it? So that is how my path has been carved always so far, starting as a Google Student Ambassador to taking the lead as organizing the meetups in GDG Ahmedabad, taking up the role of Women Tech Maker Ambassador over there, and then from there moving to Google and running various across programs. It has always been like that. So I have a soft goal which I know I want to achieve, and then the opportunities come which are aligning to that soft goal.
Mind blowing, I must say. So, talking about the contributions that you started and you became motivated with deeper interest, talking about entrepreneurship, talking about opportunities that you unlock with your hard work and dedication. Now you are leading and creating a global impact with similar programs that you once were a part of. And how are both the experiences and how growing with the help of these opportunities or programs look like from both the perspectives?
Experience is phenomenal, as anyone could imagine, because whenever you are a part of a program, you have only imagined to be there on the other side of the table, as you put it, right? So it is phenomenal, feels really good. And on the top of it, it helps you understand your user or your target audience better because you have been there. So I often work with a lot of people who come from different fields, who come from various backgrounds in terms of their degrees, their field of expertise, and then working with me on the projects. But I feel that I always have an upper hand when it comes to telling what would work in this project and what would not work, and what our audience would like and what they would not like, because I have been there. So I feel like I am an advocate of our communities or our audiences. And then I also have imbibed the values of my own organization. Mixing them makes the perfect program. In addition to that, it is again giving me an opportunity to change the life of the people with whom I had worked. So to be able to be in a position where I could mentor people from my community, I could mentor the students from my college, I could mentor the women's ambassadors who are like how I used to be. So it's a great sense of satisfaction that maybe through my help they would reach again something similar to where I am in a coming years. And I have seen that happening as well. So a very important thing is that you develop a little bit of a business understanding of the whole thing. When you are participating in an activity as a volunteer, that's a separate thing. Whereas where you are running a program, you think, what value will this program add to my company? Definitely in DevRel, it is never revenue impact that we are looking at, but as we represent Google as the go-to team for any Google's developer product, we do need to see how do our activity adds back as a impact, as a business impact to Google as a company. So that's a new thing, and it took me time to understand, because initially I came from a background where I was like, okay, let's run this, let's run that. And then you have to take a step back and see, okay, what is it in for the audience? What is it in for company? And how do we make that happen? Second is also when you decide the goals of the company as well as the audience needs, you have to figure out how the process would work. And then strategizing that process is a very new experience. Let's say working on a program which impacts 1 million people across the globe, 2 million people across the globe, there are a lot of challenges, and you have to make sure that your processes and infrastructure is up and running for any glitches that come their way, right? So that is a new experience. You tend to develop a mindset of setting up things in a way so that they are ready to scale rapidly.
That's amazing. So, what are your favorite memories from both being a volunteer or an attendee or a part of a program and leading a program?
Before that, maybe I can share how I became the ambassador. So one of the seniors walked to my room and said that I was the previous ambassador and I get to nominate the next one, and I feel you could be a great candidate. Would you like to apply? And definitely I didn't know anything about the program, but I knew that Google as an organization is a really reputed organization, so I should not say no to this opportunity. So I said yes, went through the interviews process, cleared it, and then was the invitation to attend the first summit. And that was probably my first sponsored trip outside of my hometown, directly to Goa, which was a very different experience. And when I went there, the first aha moment was like, oh, we have 270 Google Student Ambassadors all across India coming together to one place in Goa, and then we have all the sessions lined up. So you you have a feeling when you become an ambassador that, okay, you are one of the best people in your college, and when you go there, you feel that, wow, there are 270 more people like you, and you are no longer near to matching what people are doing and where they are. So it was a good memory, and I would say I was a bit tense as well. But yeah, that was my first exposure to meeting a lot of people working in Google. And I could never imagine I could talk with them, I could discuss what I'm doing with them, I could ask them questions directly, and they were really there to give us time. So that is my best experience. I could also get to meet their other communities. It was a summit for the Google Student Ambassadors, Google Developer Groups, and Google Business Group together. So I could meet a lot of people who were professionals. So then it was an inspiration for me to see what the professionals in my field are doing. Because when you are in the second or the third year of a college, you're still figuring out what to do, what companies to work for, and you don't have that kind of exposure studying in college in Gandhinagar on how the world goes. So when you meet the people who are working in top firms in Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, Kolkata, everywhere, you kind of get your goals. You get an opportunity to set your goals, that okay, this is the kind of a role where I could go, and this is the kind of a company where I could go. So yeah, it personally and professionally, it was a aha moment for me when I started to run the women tech maker programs in Southeast Asia. That was most amazing thing. And reason being, one, I being a diversity advocate, I always have like a soft corner, and I feel strongly about the women in tech initiatives. I also had done a lot of initiatives back in India of mentoring people and mentoring my fellow classmates on helping them with anything that they want to progress in their careers. And I was an ambassador myself, so I know how it feels. So when I was given a chance by my team that, okay, you have all our support, you put together the strategy, what do you want to do in Women Tech Maker Southeast Asia? And they told me that you are the best person to put it because you have been there, done that. So do it yourself. So that was the best moment. I had to do a lot of research because Southeast Asia is a very different region from India, and not everything would work in India would work here. But then being able to draft a region-wide strategy and then trying to make sure that all the stakeholders who are involved are aligned and then sticking to the plan throughout the year, that was like most memorable experience.
Thank you, Vaibhavi. It was really amazing to know your diverse experience across the globe and running such an amazing initiatives and inspiring a lot. Talking about apart from the initiatives, we know that Google Anitaba Memorial Scholarship, which is now known as Women Tech Maker Scholarship, you flourished and inspired many females globally, and that has come a long way for you. So, how the demographics have emerged over the time with opportunities and engagements?
So I would say it is one of the best recognitions that we could have to recognize women in tech, telling to the world and showcasing their talents so that people have more role models to look up to. When I was growing up, I saw people around me as role models. And for me to see someone who is doing exceptionally well at a company in US and a female, maybe better than that, if I would have someone who is doing exceptionally well in my hometown, that's going to be a more inspiration. And why is though? Because I can relate more with that person. So this program basically helps to get more local role models, and those are the real role models that would inspire other people and inspire specifically other women in tech. So the program has emerged. They have diversified into a lot of regions, lot of different countries. And in addition to getting the scholarship, you also get into an elite network of women in tech who are thriving for working on challenging projects and who are working on what would you say, who are working on super high edge technology projects. So sometimes it's just good to collaborate with these people, and the projects also kind of help you elevate your career. It could be about landing at internships, it could be about landing at jobs, it could be about becoming a great speaker, or anything that you may say. But this program definitely helps to boost confidence of not only the scholar, but each and every woman in tech that is in touch with and around that particular scholar. And it remains the same, just the name has changed, but the vision and the mission remains pretty much the same in today's era as well. And I am in touch with a lot of scholars, and I would say each and everyone is doing the best wherever they are. And although we don't meet so often because of the geographic foundation, whenever we connect and we say that we are scholars, we feel that we share a common bonding, that we could just quickly bond with each other and talk onto anything. Really nice community to be a part of.
Continuing the same, transforming different geographies including Southeast Asia, India, Europe, Sub-Saharan Africa, Mexico, and many more. How diverse are the needs and how do you approach them to deliver the best possible for their particular needs?
That is an amazing question. First of all, I would say there is definitely no rocket science around on how do we figure it out. But yes, I have learned things on the go. And as I explore new markets, I explore that people have different challenges. People do have similarities also, but they have different challenges. They speak different languages and they have a different way of working, which we should understand. So that when I go there with my program, they don't feel like it's something new or someone from outside is getting it for them. They should feel like it's their own. So I had my first experience when I was working on the developer student club. So when I moved to Singapore, the first project was to pilot this program in Indonesia. And I was pretty confident that I have worked on the applied CS program, scaled it all across India. So doing this thing in Indonesia is not going to be so different. So I was just ready to get in. But then when I met people, I understood in terms of maturity of the market, how they perceive different technology, and then what kind of products do they love the most. We have to understand that. I met few people there. I leveraged some of our regional teams who are based in Indonesia, local people who know the students, who know the universities, to understand things, and then accordingly make changes into the go-to-market strategy that we have for the program. So that was amazing. The second thing was when I was launching my machine learning bootcamp. So I had done a pilot in Singapore, and then I was doing it all across Southeast Asia. And it was like next month Indonesia, after that Malaysia, after that some other country, Thailand, and then it's very different. So again, when it was the first time, I did feel that, okay, there are few things that I need to course correct, but then I was used to it that before going to any new country, understand the market, understand what kind of projects people work on, what are the technologies that they like, what are the professional titles of the respective people, so that you know that, okay, in Singapore, data scientists are in majority. Whereas in Indonesia, maybe data engineers are in majority, and then understand how that role varies. So those kind of insights helped me a lot. Similarly, when I went to Mexico, it was about understanding how their startup ecosystem works. Although they have a lot of similarity with Southeast Asia, it was great to understand that the Mexican startups are emerging towards payments. They are going hyper local as we are going here as well, but they have different ways of approaching it. So then having those insights and those conversations with the people just broadens your experience. And then if you are put to launch something in a new market where you have not at all gone as well, then you will be ready and prepared to take the program to the next level. So once you figure out and understand the market and the audience, putting up the strategy is not so challenging because then you know how to achieve it. But yeah, it's an interesting exercise, and every time I go to a new region, I'm just looking forward to gather as many as information, whatever data points that I can get, which kinds of strengthens my overall experience.
That's a lot of travel, a lot of interaction. It must be exciting.
Definitely.
So, considering the same, what steps do you visualize and suggest to bring the change for better in future for aspiring community leaders, and how can they help with the same?
The communities are evolving. the community leaders are evolving, and the path of transition in terms of trying out new formats, trying out new technology is something that they are getting, and they are just getting better at it. So I wouldn't put any suggestions to them. They are even more well versed in understanding the audience as I would be as the person running the program. So no suggestions over there. Definitely, I would say, in addition to growing the communities, it is important that you leverage all the resources, opportunities, and everything that comes your way to make sure that you are upskilling yourself at a professional and a personal level as well, because you are the community leader. So people see you as an inspiration. So if you upskill yourself, it's not only for good for you, but it's also an inspiration for others that, okay, this is a person who is an amazing web developer who knew nothing about machine learning, but today that person is developing ML libraries and contributing into the TensorFlow documentation, right? So your journey as community leaders is not only going to benefit you, but inspire the people who are around you, who come to your meetups, who are in touch with you. So just keep doing that. Keep your teams with you, grow your teams, give a chance to people who are new, enthusiastic, and who wants to get started, because there was someone who gave you the break. So keep giving those breaks and the starts to young people. And other than that, I think the communities are here to stay. It's just going to go above and upwards from here. There's no looking back. We might have different ways of catching up, be it in person or online or over the podcast like you folks are doing. But the spirit of meeting together, sharing together, speaking together remains the same.
Thank you. Based on this, during the current epidemic situation, people are adopting virtual education rapidly at a massive scale. So, you being an active contributor of educational programs, how do these programs empower people, and how do you think that people are evolving with ever-changing verticals?
It's a tough time, but it's a good time to experiment new formats. Whether today or not, with or without this epidemic, we would have want to go online because of the geographic boundaries that we have, and the limitation of traveling and the time zones that we would have as well. Experiments are useful. Yes, we are all doing it. It's difficult to say because we are just starting, and people are in a stage where they are trying to balance between their work, lifestyle, and family, and also a lot of tension around how things would work out. So I would give some time to everyone to settle over things. But when it comes to experiments, I have seen the startup accelerators going live with few companies around in Singapore. I have seen the hands-on code labs going live. I have seen the live concerts. The artists are coming online, Instagram, YouTube, and they are doing their concerts live. So there is nothing that cannot go live as per what I understand. But yes, there are going to be new challenges on how do you attract more people to stay and stick onto the screen. How would you incentivize them to engage with you, and how will you make them feel special by giving the attention over virtual events as well. So those challenges are coming, but I think we are at the forefront of it, and I see a lot of Google developer groups and the women tech maker ambassadors and the Google developer experts and the developer student clubs have already been started doing that. So I think we are just on a step ahead. It would be nice to see how our communities can set an example for all the rest of the communities in the world.
Absolutely right. So, talking about experimenting and being a change maker and founding member of 10x MBA, which is a month-long mini MBA program for the next gen leaders. So, how did you and the entire team decide the crucial aspects you would like to include in the program, how would the program work, and how it helped you grasp approaches, knowledge, and growing your expertise?
It's a very interesting project. The way we started was, is there really a need of MBA, or people just take a break, spend 2 years, learn things, and want to come back? So then what we were figuring out is, why do people go for an MBA at a level where they are already at a mid level of their career, or the ladder of their work? The few things that we could come up with is a couple of skills which you see as the 10 skills, like the attention to detail and working together, being a good listener. So we felt that these are 10 generic values which, if a working professional can possess, then they should not be needing a full-fledged, super expensive MBA program. Rather, they could imbibe these 10 values in them, and then they could take online courses which gives them the expertise of their own sector. Let's say if someone from financial background could learn these 10 skills, practice it, become good at it, and then they could learn the ABC of finance, which is like the theory, by the courses that are online as well. But these 10 skills that we say of 10x MBA is very unique and not easily available for anyone to learn. It is something that you develop with practice and on a project-based learning. So that is how we came up with it. And yeah, the response overall has been positive. A lot of people shown interest in that, and we keep developing new contents and exploring new areas or new organizations to partner with.
And I think that's what is needed.
Yes, we need to go 10x everywhere, in our work, in our life, in whatever we do. That should be the moonshot goal.
Great. So, talking about the career, people wish to move up the ladder to build their own identity individually better in all the aspects. What are the key points that you'd like to highlight for a great leader, an excellent manager, and an amazing team member?
I think this is a very subjective question, and it will differ from a person to person. Everyone will have a different take on it. But a couple of things which I feel would make a good leader is one, giving each and every person on your team the ownership of their work so that they feel that they are owners of their own projects. Second thing, being transparent with what's happening, if there are any changes, if there's someone making mistake, if there's going to be feedback to be given, or if it is about being praising. I think being transparent helps you connect better with your teammates and your team as a manager as well. You should be having a clear vision on where the team is going to lead. I, as a leader, would have a clear vision where I would want to see my team in next 5 years. Then my team will also imbibe that vision, and then through their programs or projects or initiative, they will contribute in achieving that vision. So that is a great trait of a leader, and I have been fortunate enough to come across such leaders whom I not only see as my managers, but beyond that, great mentors.
So, what are your personal favorite learnings from the people you worked with and the people you admire, your mentors?
There are numerous learnings, but if I were to quote, I have become better at receiving and giving feedback. And that is because people did the same with me. I was hesitant in being straight about giving feedback to someone, or perhaps I might not receive the feedback well if it is something around improving when I started my career. But then as I went along, I felt that these kind of feedback are the kind of feedback which helps me improve. And if I really work hard on those specific points to improve, then it's just going to get better. And it's something that you will never forget. One negative feedback that you get, and then the improvement that you make, it's going to stay with you forever. So now I feel that, okay, it's so good that I've had people who have been critics, who have given me difficult feedback, and who at the same time also accept similar feedback from me. There's no bias about it. It just feels so good that you don't need to sugarcoat so many things and try to say it like this and like that. So it just feels good.
Thank you for sharing this. So, any books, podcast, videos, impactful content that you want to share with the audience?
I kind of learn a lot from experience and people. So, not a very book person, but I do like to invest in book. I was just reading somewhere that being a person who likes to read books and being a person who likes to purchase books are two different people. And I'm probably the one who likes to purchase the books. So you will see my shelf full with books, but I don't read it so often. But yeah, I've become fan of the podcast quite recently, and there is one podcast of DeepMind that I listen to, which they have recently started, and they share how they work on the artificial general intelligence, which is the next booming word in the world. When I can train my machine so that it shows the intelligence which a human can show, which is called artificial general intelligence. That is on what DeepMind research works. And in their podcast series, they have all their scientists, researchers, and the program manager talking about how do they come up with such algorithms and how have been their experiences of creating AlphaGo and all the other great things that they have been creating. So I love that, absolutely love that, and that is my go-to podcast to hear every day I go to office. Beyond that is also a podcast by McKinsey, if I'm not wrong, and that is about growth of Asia. So they talk about different economies and how Asia is emerging as an economy in all across the world. What has happened with that and how Asia is emerging. Other than that, I just love watching different videos that come through my YouTube recommendation. I also like the videos in LinkedIn Learning. I have been looking at some of the videos which is on conflict resolution, how to negotiate well, and those are the things that, frankly, I have not needed past in my life, but I want to learn that so that if I come across something, I know how to react and I know how to deal the situation. So there are some great videos around then on LinkedIn Learning as well. So yeah, those are my most recent go-to places to learn and follow.
Nice. So you have talked about the market growth, and we believe that individual people are responsible for growing the scale of a market in terms of continents. So what is something that you do on a constant basis for your own growth and learning, and what do you do recommend as a habit for people who want to achieve their goals?
I would say I follow the same thing, which I mentioned: the podcast, the videos, the courses, books, whatever you like. In terms of tracking the habit, I am also trying it, and I think I am in the 5th week of that. I've prepared a habit tracker. We had a small workshop in the office, and basically you narrow down on just 2 or 3 habits that you want to get ingrained in yourself, and then you stick to it. So then there's a tracker around it. I'm not sure if I've acquired those habits yet. I'm still doing it because I need to update my tracker, but I'm hoping that I don't need that tracker anymore. And another thing that I learned in the habit workshop is that if you want to start a new habit, like you want to start a lot of things, I would say, I want to dance, I want to sing, I want to learn piano, I want to do this, that, right? You want to do a lot of things, but then you have to prioritize them. So if you incentivize your habits that after I do this, then I will do this, then you will be chasing your own rewards, right? It's like you creating a game for yourself. And that is something which could work, which I have heard, but haven't seen because I'm still in the very first stage. But yeah, might be useful for the listeners.
Thank you, Vaibhavi, for joining us.